Good evening. My name is Divya and I come from South India. I have my startup in Coimbatore. I'm a social entrepreneur. I have with me Anita and Ulrich, who will also join with me at some time. I'm here just to address on topic, how we can all make a difference with social enterprise. I'm from a farming background. I'm a software engineer by profession. I was working with American Express. I wanted to do something for my community, like in the farming background. So when I was working, I used to always have this thought. So could I do something, to better the lifestyle of a farmer? Mainly in India, we have a lot of difficulties the farmer come across. There is no product or value that's been created, and every time a farmer suffers in our country, most of the scenarios where he commits suicide because he takes loans from the banks and he will not be able to repay it back because he's not getting the value for his produce. So this is how our whole story starts here. So the same, I have a story from my family wherein my grandfather committed suicide. He was suffering from a throat cancer, and we didn't have enough financial support because he was doing farming. When he was admitted in Manipal, he had to suffer a lot, and then he committed suicide because he didn't want to put the pressure on the family. So I just want to change, bring a small change in this sector. Wherein no other farmer should come across a situation nor suffer in his life. That's where I quit my job and started a company called Indian Superheroes. The superheroes name is dedicated to the farmers of our country. Here, the farmers are the superheroes, and we created an online presence, Indian Organic store, wherein the organic produce of the farmers would be directly sold to the customer, and the farmer get paid directly from the customer. So there is no middleman intervention here, and the farmers are getting products. The customers are getting the products for the organic produce, the genuine organic produce, and the farmers are getting a good return on this. So this is where we started, and I started with just 2 organic farmers. One was my own family, and then the network grew up till 800 odd organic farmers throughout South India. So it is a very hard, tough journey that you come across, but it's only the strong willpower and determination which drives you till death. So if I just want you to know how many of you are a social entrepreneur here. If you could just, okay, wow, nice. Social entrepreneurship is not an easy journey because you need to have the purpose to drive the show. So I had a purpose. I wanted to bring change, and my whole team worked towards the same purpose. So when you're actually into the social entrepreneurship, you know the whole team is driving towards one single goal, that is to empower each and every farmer. So that's where we all are traveling towards. In this course of time, wherein we created another sector called value additions. So in value additions, what happens is the farmer does a lot of value additions to the produce, like he harvests coconuts and make cold pressed coconut oil, handmade soaps, lip balm. There are a lot of other products like this. We harvest the honey, so the customers get directly the wild forest raw honey. So these are the things which usually gets adulterated, but here the customer gets the genuine produce, and it's reasonably priced. An important sector which is reasonably priced. So here everyone is benefited, and this is a win-win situation. My second venture, when I was doing this, so while working with the farmers, we came across a lot of issues like the water scarcity. Today we are all facing a lot of problems like the water scarcity, the climate change, and things like that. But we wanted to get into the roots and see what's wrong and what's happening. And when we started, I started my second venture, that was Plansil. It's into eco-friendly paper pencils and pens. So why we got started with this was because the farmers told us that there's a lot of water issues, water crisis that's going on, and they don't have water for farming. So because we a lot of deforestation, and pencil is one of the reasons. So we need at least 20 billion pencils worldwide every year, which we don't realize because it's a very tiny thing. So we don't realize that we actually need 20 billion pencils worldwide, and for that we cut down at least 7 to 8 million trees. That's like the size of Haryana or the size of Denmark. So we cut down so many trees just to make pencils. And another one is paper-based products and furnitures, and there are other reasons as well. But just for pencils, we cut down so many trees. So we started with eco-friendly. We recycle the papers and make pencils, and also the pens. Just to bring down this, and we are trying our best to make sure that we are franchising this, and we are supporting a lot of women. Like at least 60+ percentage of your employment is mainly given to the women in that particular community. So this ensures, and especially I have to say this, that women are emotionally very strong. So they are, you just have to work with people. So when you're into entrepreneurship, you've got to work with people, and we are so emotionally strong that it becomes easy for us. Yeah, I'm so sorry about it, Vishnu, but for ladies it's actually very easy. They work so well, and it's so smooth for them to work. So that's about my journey, and I just wanted to convey that social entrepreneurship is the best way to impact the society and to bring the change in your community. And you also make start earning, and you are self-sustaining. So it's the best way to bring the change in the community. So I would like to call upon the other co-speakers. So please join.
I'm from New Mexico State University in Las Cruces, New Mexico. I'm an interdisciplinary PhD student, and it's in marketing and plant and environmental sciences. So first I'd like to start off with showing, I don't have the control. I like to think of social entrepreneurship as planting seeds of hope, and it also correlates with farming, which is the social enterprise that I actually do. So these are just different seeds. These ones you probably can't tell. It's red chili seeds, and that's New Mexico is the chili capital of the world. Probably never touched New Mexico. And then this quote by Marianne Williamson. She's the founder of the Peace Alliance and also an author. In every community, there is work to be done. In every nation, there are wounds to heal. In every heart, there is the power to do it. So that, to me, that quote encompasses everything that social entrepreneurship is. So contemplating that quote, I'd like you to think about what social entrepreneurship means to you, to society, and to the world. So there were several of you that raised your hand that you're social entrepreneurs. So if you'd like to say one word or a few words on what it means to you, I'd like you to share.
I can start.
Okay, thank you.
It's using a for-profit business model to create some kind of social change. That's how I see it.
Exactly. Thank you.
Making a difference.
Making a difference. Exactly.
Not waiting for the government to solve the problem, but you're taking it, solving it for
yourself. Yes, taking matters into your own hands and creating the action and the change so more quickly than it may take government to do it. So the next slide shows some of those. It was the circular one. Sorry. think you're a little ahead, shows some of the words that also convey social entrepreneurship: opportunity, risk, skill, vision, etc. And it's generally mission related, not wealth. So it's not just about making money like in business, as one of you indicated. This is one of the standards definitions of social entrepreneurs. It's a company, nonprofit, or organization that seeks to create replicable, sustainable, and responsible systems for the community, the country, and the world. And people have actually been doing social entrepreneurship for years and years, but the concept social entrepreneur wasn't actually, there wasn't an academic field for it until Gregory Dees, the late J. Gregory Dees, the professor from Duke University, created it as an academic field. And this is how he defined it: adopting a mission to create and sustain social value, not just private value, recognizing and relentlessly pursuing new opportunities to serve that mission, engaging in a process of continuous innovation, adaptation, and learning, acting boldly, without being limited by resources currently in hand, and exhibiting a heightened sense of accountability to the constituencies served and for the outcomes created. And then there were a couple of there were more research, but a more recent one, Martin and Osberg in 2007, they compiled lots of the information on social entrepreneurs and found that there were 3 main components for each. And you can see that I highlighted some of the main concepts. So identifying a stable but inherently unjust equilibrium. The second one, developing a social value proposition and bringing to bear inspiration, creativity, direct action, courage, and fortitude. And then the last one, forging a new stable equilibrium that releases trapped potential or alleviates the suffering of the targeted group. So essentially, creation of stable ecosystems around the new equilibrium, ensuring a better future for targeted group and even society at large. And the replicability is important because if you can do that in your community, if I can do that in New Mexico, it can be done in India, it can be done in China, it can be done in other areas. But market analysis and market research is super important because you have different, the climate's different than it is in New Mexico, but all the concepts can apply. So it's just modifying information that's out there and making it your own. And I have some examples of social entrepreneuring women that most of you have probably heard of, and actually the majority, pretty much all the women here at this conference are social entrepreneurs. So I just listed a few examples. Natalia Oberti Noguera, she realized that society had a gender perception with respect to how people are changing the world. And I thought that was interesting because she started Pipeline Angels in 2011 to help other social entrepreneurs. And being a woman, she helps and lends specifically to other women social entrepreneurs. So sometimes women may think, oh, there's not an opportunity. Where will I get the money? I have this great idea, but the bank's not going to lend me money. Well, here's an opportunity of another social entrepreneur specifically there to support you as women. So I think that that's so wonderful, and we need more people like that in the world. And she was also on Fortune's 55 Most Influential Women. And then she started a podcast as well. The next one is Amrita Saigal. She's a social entrepreneur. She was a mechanical engineer by training, and she was passionate about improving lives of women. And she was a Harvard MBA graduate. She founded SIA with co-founder Oracle engineer Kristen Kagetsu. In 2014, they won the top prize in social enterprise at Harvard Business School. And Rita and Kristen both hold mechanical engineering degrees from MIT. And Psyche provides jobs and low-cost sanitary napkins to women in India. Because sanitary napkins are not all of the women are able to obtain them here because of cost, and then also if they're not able to obtain them and they're in school, they miss out on going to school, they miss out on going to work because they just have to stay at home, because as women, you know what happens. So even with having access to the sanitary napkins, you can have incidences occur at work. So imagine not having it. So that's wonderful, the work that she's doing as well.
Jessica Norwood is from Mobile, Alabama, and after Hurricane Katrina hit her hometown in 2005, she created Emerging Changemakers Network in 2007. And she founded Runway Project more recently, and it's an initiative to raise startup money for Black-owned businesses focused on closing the wealth gap. And then this next slide is from the World Bank data. And if you've probably seen all of this before, but this is like it offers a more global perspective. So all of the red are the countries that make more money and higher income for the individuals. All of the, and I can actually, let me enlarge mine so I can let you know the numbers. So red is high income, $12,476 or more. The peach-colored or salmon-colored one is upper middle income, and that one's $4,036 to $12,475. The periwinkle one is lower middle income, and that one's $1,026 to $4,035. And then the navy blue is the low income that is $1,025 or less. So you can see, like, there's a lot of areas that are in red that make higher income, but then there's, upper middle in the,
well, on here it doesn't necessarily look peach or salmon, but all those are the upper middle. And then on this screen, this darker blue is the lowest income.
So on unemployment rates, according to the CIA, the Central Intelligence Agency World Factbook 2017 estimates, the U.S. has 4.4% unemployment. And if you notice for India, it's twice that amount. And twice that amount, there was another stat that I read that it's 31 million people are unemployed in India currently. And China, it's 4%, and then it says a note that that's registered for, or no data for registered urban unemployment, and it excludes private enterprises and migrants. So that number could be higher. Germany is 3.8, Japan 2.9, Russia 5.5, and Saudi Arabia 5.6. There's significant more information on each country. I just wanted to include like some of the, top producing companies and some of the higher population, not companies, but countries and higher population ones. And then the next slide has Venezuela, Yemen, Haiti, which these words I included because if you notice the unemployment rate, they are like so high, exorbitantly high, much higher than the other ones. So Zimbabwe was the highest that I saw, 95% from 2014. Venezuela was at 26.4% for 2017, but if you're following the news and everything that's been going on in Venezuela, I anticipate that 2018 the numbers will probably be double or triple. So just some information to keep in mind. The next slide, please. Poverty rate, individuals below poverty rate in the U.S. So you saw that the U.S. was one of the higher income countries. So it was in red. Despite that, we have a poverty rate of 15.1%. In New Mexico, which is where I'm from, we're one of the top 5 poverty states in the U.S. So we have a 20.9% individuals living below poverty. And then in Las Cruces, that number is 24.4%. So that was kind of astounding to me because here we are supposed to be, the U.S., one of the wealthier nations, yet we still have poverty and people that are homeless, people that eat out of garbage cans, and that's, if they're lucky, some of them that don't eat at all. Of course, it's not to the extreme that it is in some of these other countries, but it's also occurring in New Mexico as well. And this is data from the U.S. Census Bureau 2012 to 2016 American Community Survey 5-year estimates. And like with stats, all of you I'm sure are aware that with statistics, some of that information, everybody that is in that level may not be reported and accounted for. So those numbers for each state could actually be higher. And that's because some people distrust the government and don't want to give the information and elect not to provide and fill out those surveys. So the number is probably higher in all of the countries. The next slide shows creating utopia. This is the social entrepreneur opportunity that I've been working on, and this is actually, that picture is in the middle is my parents, my mom and dad. Last summer they were helping me on the farm, and that other one with the tractor, I'm actually driving the tractor, and I didn't have my hands on the wheel so I could take a photograph. And then those are some flowers that I planted years ago from different, I started with just 3 bulbs because apparently irises can be expensive. So I started with just 3 bulbs of each, and every year if you continue to transplant them, they spread. And even if you don't continue to transplant them, they spread, but it's better if you spread them around and give some away, and then you could trade with family and friends and get different colors that way as well. So for pretty much all my life, I grew up on this small farm. It used to be called Chiquita Farm, and I grew up having to come home from school and instead of having to study like some of our neighbors, we had to go work in the field and then come back in and study. But my dad would, and then even on weekends, he'd be like, rise and shine, picking and grinning, like time to get up, waking us up early to go and pick. And it's like, no, I don't want to go. And he's like, get up. So now, years later, I went to school, got my master's, now I'm going for my PhD, and I've always, like for the past 30 years, I've wanted to make our farm into a family community opportunity, not just family farm, but have more of the community involved, because I've taught different levels from elementary, middle school to high school, and then now I've taught, this is my 3rd time teaching a university level marketing course. And my biggest passions are farming, cooking, arts and crafts, teaching, and dancing. So this farm idea that I've been working on, and I've already implemented half of it, provides the opportunity for me to do all of those things in one place. And it just took some time for my dad to have the same vision that I have. And so finally this last summer, he finally has realized that I'm not going to change my mind, despite his saying, you're female, you know, that farming isn't necessarily a female field, and of course that makes me want to do it more. And then he says there's no money in farming, we don't have enough land, because ours is a less than like 3-acre planted for farming. So he says to make money you need 10 acres or more and things like that. And yes, in some instances you do, but with this opportunity, you don't need that. And so I did a marketing plan so that I could show him the actual numbers. And in order to do a marketing plan, so whatever industry, if you're not already a social entrepreneur, or if you are, you realize the importance of doing a marketing plan. That is so crucial, especially if you want to get funding later on. So first thing, start with the market analysis. Is there a need for the business that you plan on doing? So USDA, according to them, the profile data for Doñana County, which is the county where I live in Las Cruces, there has been an increase in the number of farms from 2007 to 2012, and that was a 24% increase. But the number of acreage is a 12% increase from 2007 to 2012. But given that, the average farm size has actually declined because there's more land that's actually in pasture. 83.9% is pasture land, only 14.2% is cropland, and 1.9% was for other uses. So over 1,400 of those farms were between 1 and 9 acres. So my farm comprises one of those smaller farms. The next slide. So the business description, after you do your market analysis, you need a business description. So it would offer the following products and services. So the farm in the spring and the summer, and then the winter would be, and then there's also, it's different seasons, because if you're a farmer, it's by seasons. So it's fruits, vegetables, and culinary herbs in the spring and summer, and in the summer, fall, and winter, it's sweet potatoes, and then winter is preparation for the pecan orchard and harvest. So there's always something going on when you have a farm. Commercial kitchen, that I have this asterisk by the commercial kitchen and by the greenhouse, because right now it's not, I'm using our kitchen, which isn't commercial kitchen, so you can't actually sell the products that are produced unless you get a certification or build a commercial kitchen. But after doing research and looking into how much commercial kitchens cost and greenhouses cost, those two are going to be on the back burner, but it wouldn't inhibit me from teaching others how to prepare the certain products and value-added food products that we would provide on the farm. And then another aspect is the art studio and gallery, and that would be available year-round, and utilizing that space for doing different arts and crafts. So Utopia is unique from competitors because it offers more variety as well as a farm-to-table concept with the opportunity for exploring arts as well. And it utilizes fresh, local, and organic ingredients when available and provides hands-on learning opportunities. And I came up with a mission statement, and it would be to nourish and inspire people about the importance of fresh, local food, clean water, and how holistic lifestyles make a positive difference while embracing agriculture and exploring art. And the reason I feel like this is so important is because throughout my life and different challenges that I've experienced and when I've lived in other cities and states, whenever I embraced art or started to do art, because sometimes when you're experiencing challenges, you don't want to do anything, and you kind of lose yourself that way. But then when you do things that you enjoy, it helps you to rediscover yourself. And agriculture and art has always helped me. And then another important aspect of your business plan is the SWOT analysis. And I'm sure you're all aware that the S&W, the strengths and the weaknesses, are the internal strengths and weaknesses of your company, your organization, and the opportunities and threats are the external factors. So looking at what other external opportunities or threats or other companies that are competing with yours. And then for my specific farm, there's a SWOT analysis. So the strengths are fertile lands, good soil, flood and well irrigation. It's one of the few remaining farms in the area that I live because a lot of the other farmers have sold and subdivided their land because they found that that's more profitable than farming, or they had children that grew up and went to college and didn't want to take it over. And then just different, since I'm born and raised there in generations, my grandfather was a farmer, my dad was a hobby farmer but had a full-time job in order to support the farm as well because I have 3 siblings, so there was 4 kids growing up. Since I'm at the university, I have various university contacts, and being from the area, I have associations with other farmers, artists, restaurants, and nonprofit and community organizations. And then I was a certified teacher with diverse teaching experience, and then my bachelor's was in home economics education with a minor in family and child science, and I taught foods and nutrition, and my master's was in family and consumer sciences, and then the minor for my master's was in marketing, so that I think offers a diverse experience for everything that I want to do and that I've been doing. And then I was previously employed by NMSU Cooperative Extension Service in Doñana, Rio Riva, and Taos counties. And in that opportunity, I got to work with other farmers throughout the state, not just in Las Cruces, and then also with community members, teaching them how to prepare foods. And I had like a mobile, the vehicle was like a mobile food cart that I took it to different places and locations and taught them how to prepare healthy meals in 30 minutes, an hour, or 30 minutes, depending on what the necessity was. So some of the weaknesses of Utopia is that labor is super expensive, and that's one of the hindrances for farmers because you have to hire people, and people cost money, and it's expensive. So right now, the employees at our farm are myself, my mom, and dad, and you saw that they're elderly, that's not, like there's days and weeks sometimes, and sometimes months that they can't help me, that I have to do it all myself, and I'm a PhD student. So last summer, I wasn't on an assistantship, so the farm was just what I was doing in order to pay for my tuition in the fall. And, thank God I made enough that I was able to cover my fall tuition. Just working on the farm, but it was extreme. And then I did teach one second summer session 2 class, but that was challenging because it was like working on the farm in the morning to meet the order for the CSA that was going to come and pick it up, and then going in to teach, and it was intense. So thank God I got an assistantship back, so it'll be a little bit more balanced. until I finish my degree. Then, of course, the farm will be the full time. So funding can be an issue. We have minimal interest in obtaining loans, and then, as I mentioned, there's a necessity for building a greenhouse and a commercial kitchen, and then there's one area in my late grandmother's estate that needs to be converted into the art studio. And then, of course, there's liability concerns with strangers utilizing land and resources because you subject yourself to lawsuits or liability. But the way to avoid that is starting an LLC. You can investigate, depending on what business you're going to start. The best option for me is the limited liability corporation, because depending on what you select, if it's a sole proprietorship or a partnership, etc., you're subject to a certain amount of liability. So just researching what is the best for you, and also getting legal advice if necessary. And there are some organizations that offer free legal advice if you need that. Opportunities, there's plenty of opportunities with the neighbors, local schools, nearby churches, etc. And then also some other collaboration with other organizations. And then some of the threats with farming, their weather and water, either too much rain or usually in New Mexico it's lack of water. There's allocations and limits, and if you don't have enough water, you can't grow your produce. And we have the Rio Grande, but the way the situation is and climate change and things like that, there's been less and less water allocated for farming, so you have to rely on the pump, and whenever you use that costs more money. And then we're following the organic practices. That took years for my dad to finally convert to follow that. So we're not organically certified, but we're following the organic practices. And with that, sometimes you just subject your field to more pests. But then there's other organic alternatives that you can use to kind of alleviate that, but that could be a potential threat. And then some of Utopia's objectives are to help feed and encourage people to become more self-sustainable by learning how to grow their own food. And that's so important. And then inform community about the importance of local food and clean water. I think sometimes people take the availability of food for granted, especially in the U.S., and clean water, you turn on the faucet, clean water comes out. But I'm sure in this country, everyone's aware that you do not have that luxury. So the countries that have it should try to conserve and preserve those resources and not waste it. So informing the community about that. And then how balanced lifestyles, outdoor activities such as gardening, chopping weeds can be therapeutic and actually build character. And encourage people to take time to create via planting seeds and watching them grow, preparing foods, exploring culinary arts, and other forms of self-expression such as painting, sculpting, photography, and/or dance. The marketing strategy, essentially, mine is going to be determined because it involves several areas of marketing strategy because I have different things that I'm focusing on. It's not just farming, it's the art and everything. So having a diversified marketing mix, product, place, promotion, price. And then these are just some other examples, and I know time is up, but that's what some of the things that I grew last summer and some of the artwork that I've done. That stool was a $3 stool that I sanded and painted. And after that, there were friends that saw it and were like, I'll pay you $100, I'll pay you $150. And I was like, no, it's not for sale. But just for an example, how you can make, these are ice-stem markers, but make different things out of beads that you find. And like here in India, there's been different beads and things that I've been finding, and some of my colleagues have found some too, and they're giving them to me because I use those in my artwork and stuff like that. So, and then here's an example of upcycling. These are those mint tins, so instead of putting things in garbage, put them you can figure out how to repurpose and upcycle. These are decoupage, so instead of those tins going into the garbage, it can be some of the treasure gives to somebody else. I'm out of time, so that's it.
Can I just show that last slide? Did you see the slide at the end that showed my mom and dad?
Yeah, very good.
I just wanted you to see that that's who inspired Utopia was my mom and dad.
about everything that I have been seeing so far in terms of impact conferences and these kind of gatherings. They're always very international, so I really enjoy that. It makes me practice a bit my languages. So to start, I'm Ulrike from Germany, Ulrike Glatz. I'm an entrepreneur and also a management consultant. So I've been touring the world a bit with Accenture quite a bit, and before I was living in India. So that's where Namaste and Namaskara comes from. Don't get any much further, actually, unfortunately. Unfortunately. So, and I'm here today because I wanted to talk to you about the Impact Club, which is after my first venture in India, which was a very entrepreneurial one, and where I myself learned how difficult it is to be an entrepreneur and to start something from scratch, especially in a developing market, especially if it's not your market. So I know all the struggles that you go through to bring it to a point where it's really self-sustaining, and then you make money, and then you employ people, etc. And I really enjoyed it. But what I'm enjoying much more actually now that I've come out of my management consulting experience is that I feel that I can make a difference. So but the thing is, how do I do that? Now I have the entrepreneurial skills. I have the management consulting skills. I have a good passport to travel. Okay with languages, so I have a lot of things to be grateful for, and I would like to give back. So I was starting to look at different issues that we have in the world, and the thing is, there's so many. I'm sure every one of you can each of you can say 5 things that are super important. We really need to yesterday solve it. So I thought, okay, somehow I need to multiply myself. So now we have this nice, this 3D printers where you can hop on maybe and then multiply yourself. But as we don't have that yet, I thought, okay, so I need to basically build an organization that is a catalyst. I went to all these impact investing conferences, etc., and met a lot of impact investors, and thought, okay, so it has to be something where I help impact entrepreneurs become investment ready, so that these poor impact investors who are really seeking out to do some impact and are really seeking out on investable projects, that these two parties can basically meet each other. So now, of course, there are already other organizations that are doing that. There's a Shoka, for example. There's actually a fund that is very active in India. There's so many. So why one more? Why one more is simply because I believe that one thing is that they speak a lot about social entrepreneurs, and I know the session is called social entrepreneurs, but I call it impact entrepreneurs. And now when I say impact, then people completely change and switch in their brains. They don't think NGO and social and no money. They think, oh, business, oh, an impact, something, yeah. So that changes. So it's a way of how to phrase it. And then also, I'm coming from the European side. So now impact investing and impact entrepreneurship is something that is very much alive, I think. In the English-speaking world, so UK, it comes from the US. But now it hasn't really trickled down that much, I believe, from my experience, to Germany and to France and to Spain, Italy, these countries. So I am looking with the Impact Club, which is a new venture, 6 months old, small baby. So I'm looking to have a membership organization actually for those impact investors, for those families who are now slowly, with millennials, moving into taking money in hand and wanting to invest, and for impact entrepreneurs, so that basically I am the impact entrepreneur, but I'm just trying with this venture to facilitate on this. There's so many social entrepreneurs, impact entrepreneurs in the room, so you know best what you're doing, so I'm just trying to do my bit to help. So here you see these, you're not allowed to say guys anymore, that's politically incorrect. So these guys and girls, they are our first movers, so we had the privilege to be invited to Davos, the World Economic Forum, so I could do a nice soft launch there and said, okay, we are starting with our first mover program. So these are the 9, and then later on we had another 3 that were joining. They are from different countries. One is from India, from Bangalore, also quite different. From Africa, from the US, and from Europe. So they come from all different places. And we basically now, within our team, we are 12 voluntary team members as of now from Germany, India, US, and Finland. So we all work to basically, support these entrepreneurs from the stage where they are explorers, as we call them. So basically, great idea, but not so sure about business model yet. And pioneers, already starting up 2-3 years in business, and the champions that are really, are about to scale up or go to other countries. So, yeah, I mean, I was speaking without using the slides. I hope you don't mind. I mean, I can also do the slideshow, so maybe if you go to the next one, actually, the next one. One more. Yeah, what drives us, the global goals. I mean, I'm sure you all know them, the nice fancy 17 global goals. So I do believe, I mean, we can discuss the global goals if how much they really are implemented and how much we are all really serious about it and how much it's maybe sometimes also a bit of greenwashing. But anyway, so I really think that this we should take it serious. I mean, for me, I mean, the heroes in the world, they are the social entrepreneurs, the impact entrepreneurs. It's them who have the solutions. It's you who know where the issue is and you find basically solutions that work in the local environment. So they need to be put on a big platform and they need to be, you know, clapped and cheered and they need to get all the consulting and all the money that we actually have so that we can really achieve those goals. I mean, if not 2030, then maybe 2040. But I mean, before, you know, really things get really ugly. So what I've been seeing is that theoretically, I think we really have everything we need. I mean, it might sound a little idealistic or utopia, but somehow I think we have the technology, we have the money, we have the brains, we should have the motivation to really save our ass on this planet. But what is not happening is, you know, that stakeholders are not really working that well together, not sufficiently yet. So that's one of the things that we do in the Impact Club, putting the different stakeholders together. And would you like to go to the next slide? So we have been digging a bit deep because we are a startup, so we are for-profit, and we say, okay, we're going to have a portal, we have an impact rating system, we have something like a LinkedIn for impact entrepreneurs, where basically you can imagine a LinkedIn profile, but of course with different fields, so that an impact investor could see right away, okay, so this is the impact, this is the SDGs this company is working on, this is the risk, and this is the return, and this is the team behind also. So we want to put this out in the world and give an opportunity to impact entrepreneurs basically to just use this LinkedIn, and then we connect them also to the money as well as to the consulting partners to help them you know, develop their business model and then spend the money in a good way once they get it. So now we were researching a little bit and I was super surprised how many impact entrepreneurs are there. I mean, it's a study from the US, from a university in the US that now I can think which name it is, but it's written there. But anyway, so LinkedIn has 450 million members, and there are 243 million social entrepreneurs. So that would actually be our potential, just theoretically, if now everybody is hopping onto the impact club, becoming a member and going on the platform. So anyway, so that would be actually the potential, or the people, the heroes for me that could help actually if they get the consulting, if they get the investment to really tackle those goals. So this is what drives us, and this is what we are trying to build a catalyst for these for you, for us. I mean, we are also in that sense an impact entrepreneur. Special thing, yeah, I don't really see myself and the whole team. We are not kind of like, we don't want to cooperate. I mean, I think we should be. I mean, with all of those that are already out there, I think we can be an add-on because that's like an online incubation program. So if you're already with, I don't know, Acumen Fund again, or Ashoka, or whatever other program, well, you can always have another online membership that supports you. Smart model. The thing is now, for example, in my team we have 12 people. So we have, of course, limited expertise and time. But now I'm seeing, as I'm coming from the consulting part, so many years of Accenture, so you see we have a pro bono program, and everybody's running actually to work for the pro bono program within Accenture, even though you're paid much less, etc. And you're using sometimes your vacation days for it, but it's motivating because, I mean, at least finally you get out of bed and you feel it makes sense what you're doing, and your knowledge is used in a good way. So yeah, just building partnerships now with Accenture and Young and Reuters, you know, with all those big corporates who have a massive amount of knowledge and a massive amount of team members who would really like to help impact entrepreneurs. So we team up with the pro bono programs, and hopefully, if you all cross your fingers rates from consultants that probably will be pretty expensive, especially in the beginning. So you would want to afford that. We have a lot of innovative ideas which we think makes it special and which really helps the impact entrepreneur as well as the impact investor. So these are the two sides. We're not going to go into all this because I'm kind of like feeling that bell will be ringing soon. So yeah, I think I already mentioned that, but we started the first mover program in Davos, which is nice and fancy. That's the team. And with the team, see, the thing is I didn't have the chance to chat with every one of you. So I know there are social entrepreneurs. I've met a few that are into consulting and mentoring, etc. So as we are really in the startup phase, so I'm all happy to get advice, to find new partners, people who want to join the team. As you see, I mean, we are not all Germans. It's quite mixed, but I'm very happy to have people on board who would want to know more about the mission, so I can explain later on a bit more in depth. So you're all welcome to join us, please, and help us with that catalyst so that we have a slight chance at least to reach sustainable development goals by 2030. The circle of impact. So now we have a for-profit company, which is the Impact Club, and then the Circle of Impact, that's an NGO actually in Berlin, where we invite our pro bono partners to become part of the Circle of Impact. Can you imagine the Knights of Impact, like the Arthur round of knights going out there to fight for the good? So they are invited to come in there, and so far we have Bertelsmann Foundation and the BMW Foundation, and then talking to Tonic, which is the US-based impact investor network, to come on board, and then hopefully Accenture and Ernst & Young. So basically the idea is also to bring very diverse stakeholders together. As usually you'd have the lawyers talking among each other, and the social entrepreneurs and the impact investors, but if you want to solve the big issues, I think we need to really all come together and have the different mindsets around the table. So that's the circle of impact. And this is explaining what I was just saying. Different possibilities how to engage with us. I think I was also already talking about it. And I think I would rather want to hear from you, if we still have time before the bell is ringing, kind of like feedback to that, because I mean I've been, of course, now being very fast in presenting that, and I would be super interested to just hear first thoughts. Yeah.
My first thought is, what are your current challenges?
Current challenges. Current challenges, to be very honest, we have a voluntary team, so it's me now working on it full time. So since 6 months I've left Accenture, and so now one is coordinating a voluntary team, because they all have, most of them, they're quite senior, so they have their companies and businesses running, and they're traveling a lot. So for me, that's a challenge that I'm saying, okay, I need to rely now on people to say, this is your responsibility, and you're going to do this till then. So like in any startup, we're in that phase that now it's really, it's we're formed, and now it's the storming phase, let's say. So we really need to make roles very clear. I think that is one. Second thing is, the vision is grand. Now, let's say if I talk to Accenture, they're happy to say, okay, let's maybe consider starting in one country, let's say India. So they're not going to say, okay, now you're a little no-one startup, and we don't know you yet, and then we're going to launch our whole pro bono program worldwide. So it's going to be, country by country. It's going to take a lot of time actually to build that up. Talking time equals funding. I'm also now just finishing our internal investment deck, so basically doing what we preach to others, which mostly is more difficult because you can always, with others, I think I can consult others very well, so I'm very happy to take advice, because now this is my baby and my startup, so I might be a bit blind. So we're doing our investment deck right now, and then the challenge will be to go out and basically say, so this is the venture. Do you want to help reach the SDGs? Do you want to help social entrepreneurs?
more of a question rather than feedback. What kind of entrepreneurs or industries are you actually interested in? And what level of social impact are you looking at? Are you looking at macroeconomic? Are you looking at microeconomic? What levels do you actually get?
We have like 3 criteria to become a member. So it has to be for-profit business model, because we would like to work with those who are not dependent on donations. Then in terms of industries, we don't have the limitation on the industries. The main point is that you work on the Sustainable Development Goals, and you are ready also to report towards the Sustainable Development Goals. For sure you need to make sure that you work with marginalized communities, for example, or, I mean, it could be sustainable infrastructure, but to be honest, so far I've been ignoring, those applications that came, and because we also need to narrow down a bit. And so we are really looking at education a lot. So education and health is something that's really interesting to us, and also agriculture. So for now we're going to narrow it down, but at the end of the day it should be all of the SDGs.
Another question, if I may. What stage do you actually start talking to the entrepreneur?
Yeah. Actually, we have the 3 stages. We have the explorers, the pioneers, and the champions. So right now in our first mover program, they are all a mix, basically. Kind of like more or less like 3-4 of each. But we will need to also narrow down at the beginning and just say we're going to focus on the pioneers, so the startups that are also already up and running, but they might not have the impact reporting in place yet. They might, who might have bootstrapped and now they need funding. So to help them professionalize and get them to a point where an impact investor from Germany would be saying, okay, fine, I take the risk, I'll do it.
Thank you.
Nobel? More questions? Comments?
Predominantly, we run a couple of social enterprises, and then we got a lot of people in who, from South India, who are interested to do social enterprises for profit. So I was wondering if there is sort of like a co-working space for impact entrepreneurs that you're thinking of. If you are, then we'd be interested because we have a lot of people in Coimbatore who want to get together and work.
So actually, the core product, us, would be the portal. So it's an online solution. But there is the Impact Hub, the Global Impact Hub that we are speaking to, because a sub-segment of the Impact Hub, people who already sit there, they are social entrepreneurs. And then, of course, it's good to have not only something online, but you also need people to meet offline. And now in Bangalore, an old business partner of mine, he has space, and he was actually saying, okay, when you come down to Bangalore now, let's talk and see. Yeah, but it would be nice to have a space. And there's no Impact Hub yet in India. I don't know why, but there's no register.
So if that's there, it becomes easy for more social entrepreneurs to come and work together, and they can actually help each other and share.
Well, I guess I'm just going to close it with that. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks for your questions, and let's talk later. Thanks so much.
Wait. Okay, thank you.